back to another episode of Car Talk. I'm your host, Big Mike, right here with...
Ryan Bossery from Rywire.
And today we're going to talk about SEMA, the SEMA Garage, and a recent time that we had up close and personal with the all-new Honda Civic Type R at the SEMA Garage. So what that is it is a location here in Southern California, and it's adjacent to their headquarters. And what they have done over time is created this environment and a place where SEMA members can sign up for these measuring sessions. And they get to work with the OEs. Some of these cars are non-VIN cars, so we can't necessarily take them on the road. But they have scanning and rapid prototyping and 3D printing. A lot of the aftermarket aero and suspension, that's all created and out available on the market so quickly because of this type of session, because they're able to get their measurements, scan, etc., and start making this before the car has even really hit the main market, you know? So it's just one of the many things that SEMA offers. And, being a social media correspondent and an influencer that works with them, it's an amazing opportunity to get invited to check out cars such as the all-new Civic Type R, and we drove it. But, Ryan's a member of SEMA, I'm a member of SEMA, and, there's just a lot of pros that, those of you that have followed us for some time have kind of been educated on. But, I mean, Ryan, why do you think people don't know enough about joining? Why do you think people are... I think they just don't know.
Yeah, I think that they don't know, or maybe they think that it's really expensive or something.
True.
It could be as little as like $100 a year,
right?
Which is like crazy cheap if you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it goes up from there, but I mean, still, it's like to be able to get into the door for that price. They offer like so many services. Like it was crazy stuff that I didn't even really realize myself,
right.
Until they were like, oh yeah, we have this and that, and obviously what you just said, the 3D printing and scanning, and they have like a ferrule arm, and they have people that can help you with it. Like,
right.
It's not like, oh yeah, there's a ferrule arm over
right.
there.
It's
like,
not just equipment and
Google
you sign
and
up and go.
it.
Yeah. There's
like
people who will help you with it.
They have staff. They got a really nice facility. They got lifts, 2 different kinds of lifts.
2 lifts, yeah.
They have 2 bays and then some extra space, and they have really nice equipment. Yeah, they have all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, that's where they're doing emissions testing and things like that. So
if you have a product that you want to try to get emissions compliant,
yep.
And they'll help you through the whole process.
Yeah, and that is crucial, especially in this state.
If you're a really small business, like let's say myself, and let's say that you're building an ECU that needs to be compliant with smog and EPA standards and all these things. You could as a member, you can present that like ECU or whatever the thing is, the object that you make, and you say, how do we make this compliant?
Yes.
And they will literally show you how to make it Cali legal, for example, right? Or if it's not doable, then they'll help fight for you, or they'll petition for you. Like all this crazy stuff that you would like never think as a group, but they have so much power, and they're such a strong
it's such a major organization. And obviously we're specifically talking about the SEMA Garage and the Civic Type R, but it's important to touch on that the Garage is just one of these many features. But SEMA as an organization has a team in Washington, D.C., and they are working to fight for us as builders and racers and enthusiasts, because without getting into that whole thing, I mean, the reality is that the EPA, whether on purpose or not, is effectively going to end up destroying if we don't, or in an right fashion, go about fighting for the right to modify cars. By dealing with that, and being a member of SEMA is a very literally crucial thing to do. So
yeah, there's a lot of benefits.
There are a lot of benefits,
and there's benefits that there's probably some that we don't know about, and there's also just some that maybe don't directly apply to us but could apply to you, as a small business or an individual or a large business. So it's definitely something to look into at minimum, to see if it's something that would be helpful, beneficial for you.
And like Ryan touched on, it can be as little as $100 a year. And when you think about the magnitude of features and things that this as an organization provide, It's just something where I think the disconnect between the enthusiast, the grassroots enthusiast, and this type of like, corporatized structure, that disconnect is something that we've been actively working to kind of close, because it doesn't need to exist anymore. We all have to work together, because the EPA issues and all of this clean movement, it has nothing to do with California anymore. It's all the way across the United States, and it's this whole defaulting to, oh, that's your guys' in Cali issue, is extremely ignorant. That's foolish. It's just they don't care what state you're in. It has nothing to do with California anymore. But if you are still working as a company to create products, you have the ability to access these features in the SEMA Garage to do things like the carb compliance, all the way to rapid prototyping. Is in, there are companies coming in and they are scanning using equipment that they may not, especially smaller businesses, they don't have the funds to have this equipment for themselves. So you sign up, you get a notch of time, you get to go in there with cars such as the Civic Type R, and you get to have the scans. You could rapid right there, maybe scan out a lower control arm, a camper setup, all kinds of stuff. It's really kind of limitless, You can scan the whole front bumper, sides, and rear, and start producing a lip kit, a hood, side view mirrors.
Right, and think about, some of these cars are like pre-production, like you were saying. So if you wanted to be the first one to have this aero kit, for example, for a certain application that you may have just seen pictures of only.
Yes. Yes.
You would get an email from SEMA saying that this vehicle is coming.
Yep.
And if that fits with what you're trying to do, then like that's your opportunity to get a product started and maybe to market by the time the vehicle comes out.
By the time the vehicle hits the market. So Ryan joined up with us, and in the vlog that I dropped on my personal YouTube channel, which you guys, if you haven't seen it, you can see it. It'll be live when this Car Talk episode drops. You can see myself driving the car, and I let the reps from Honda North America kind of walk me through it like I had never been in a car before. And it was just more like, all right, what would you guys suggest? Like, do you want me to toggle through the screens first, the driving modes? Because the Civic Type R has multiple driving modes. And so I just let them kind of, treat it like I didn't know anything. And it was kind of cool to play that role, because the guy is kind of going about it from this like ground zero perspective. And it was kind of cool, actually, because truthfully, he had no idea who Ryan and I were and how deeply engrossed in the Honda community we were. And I think that instead of that being a hindrance, it ended up being helpful, because he went about it without a skewed, whether positive or negative, perspective, and we did the same thing. So in the vlog, Ryan's driving, I'm driving, and both of us went through sport and comfort and R and individualized. Like, we didn't go in there and set individual, but the thing that's really cool about the Civic Type R, the all new, Civic Type R, the FL5 has an option where you can have an individual mode where you spec it out, where you can have your suspension set to as stiff as possible, but you can have everything else set to something else. So it isn't pre-programmed, you program it.
Right? Drivability, sensitive, like throttle
response,
drive-by-wire sensitivity. Yep. So if you're like, I like it laggy, or I don't. I mean, he likes it laggy.
Yeah, so
but,
you
like,
set it up.
But I want my suspension to ride softer. Or RJ was complaining about how stiff it rode. And then we were like, well, we're used to really stiff cars, so it actually felt quite nice and full stiff.
So RJ, shout out to RJ. It was actually his birthday that day, right?
No, it was that day.
It was that day.
That's
was his
right.
birthday.
And then we went,
So shout out to our boy RJ. And like Ryan just said, he mentioned how he felt like the OEM FL5 was really stiff. And we were just like, oh, we thought it was really nice. And then when you go to R, like, R plus, it was just like too bumpy. And we were like, nah, man, like, we actually thought it was really nice. But the thing that's cool about the individualized mode is you can have it set so your throttle response is peak, but the dampers are at street.
Yeah,
comfort.
or anywhere in between.
Or anywhere
right?
in between. So that's a really cool feature of the FL5, which you guys will see in the vlog where Ryan and I are driving. We go through each and every driving mode,
Yep.
and push it a little bit. I like, I went close to Redline a couple of times. We were on a regular street, so no, nothing crazy. But at the same time, in that vicinity where the SEMA Garage is, it's nothing really straight. It's kind of curvy.
Yeah, it was a lot
So
of ups and downs and arounds.
but which was actually kind of cool because you're having elevation changes. We're kind of going a little bit hard into a turn, and it showed how planted the
Yeah.
FL5 was.
Yeah, I was able to get on it a little bit, but then I got stuck behind that cop for
Yeah,
a while.
yeah, yeah.
And he was like, I feel like he was slowing me down. I was like we were literally going like 5 miles an hour.
So
and I wanted to go around him like
okay,
so
so when we're driving the car, so after working with the rep and having him walk us through design cues and all these different things, which is all in the vlog on my personal channel, Ryan and I drove it, and then what ended up happening was when Ryan was driving it, when we were looping back around to go back into the garage, it was good. It was getting closer to being dark. There was an officer in an SUV.
Yeah, I think so.
And
Black
and
SUV.
for whatever reason, he was, because we were like way off the freeway and main roads.
Yeah.
It was like deep, and he was just there, and so you're like, all right, which we weren't driving crazy anyways, but like he was driving like 5 miles per hour.
He was like deliberately holding me up, and I was just like, do I just go around this guy?
Yeah, no.
And I,
So
like,
we so
had to-
right, but before that, I think you actually pushed it harder than I did.
I think I drove for a little bit longer, and I think I pushed it a little bit.
Yeah,
harder,
like I
but-
feel like Ryan,
But I was like, I don't. It's not my car. I hate driving other people's cars. Oh my god! But nobody really owns this car, and it's like literally for that. So I was like, whatever.
The thing that's cool is this was a VINed car, so it was
Right.
we could actually drive it on the road. There have been other sessions I've been to where it was pre-production, cannot put it on a public road. So this was cool. So what we did was we were able to get in there, and it was an evening slot, so it was more calm, and other people had come in throughout the day, and I think preceding days, and they've a lot of the stuff that you're gonna see or are already seeing for the FL5 is due to SEMA Garage and SEMA as an organization, and it was really cool. I mean, Ryan, that was your first time, right?
Yeah, yes. First time driving FL5. Yeah.
And
and at SEMA Garage,
Yeah.
actually, yeah.
yeah. So
I mean, I knew where it was. You see it off the highway.
Mhm,
It's in Diamond Bar, so you see it like right, literally off the road. But
yeah, but what they have inside, two lifts. They have they have the different equipment, the CMM, the coordinate measuring machine
Yep.
for the 3D scanning, the arm, rapid 3D printing, smaller items, not too huge, but nonetheless. They have the scales, so you can measure the weight, quarter balance,
dyno test.
the dyno for emissions measurements, and so much more. And it's just really cool to be able to do that. To be able to be a part of that. So shout out to everyone involved there for doing that. And so when it comes to the majority of you guys watching are Honda guys, if you will, and girls. And what are your thoughts on the FL5 versus the FK8? Right? I mean, it's kind of like a real love and a hate thing. I think predominantly people have embraced it, but it's kind of a thing where, isn't it interesting how an FK8 non-Type R is just kind of like nobody within our world.
Like a sport, like a Civic Sport.
Right. Nobody really like cares.
No.
But so that's one way I think it's very similar, because the FL5, the Civic Type R, it's like when you see the non-Type R, like none of us could care any less.
Right.
But when we're just like, dude, I do not like that non-Type R car. But I don't know why would I like the Type R if I don't like the non-Type R? Like for us, EKs, it doesn't matter the trim. Right. We like them.
Yeah.
Right? Well,
it doesn't have to be a CTR EK.
Correct.
To like
a DC, same kind of thing. It doesn't have to be a Type R. The Type R lineage thus far, every non-Type R chassis, we're all fans of. And yet, this new era, big body, new design language, it's like the FK8, the FL5, the non-Type R, everyone's like, ugh,
Mm-hmm.
the tuning world of course, they still sell numbers. The FL5 is North American Car of the Year. So
Yep.
clearly that the majority of the industry likes it. Majority of the tuning guys don't.
Yeah.
But it's like Honda nailed exactly every bullet point to make us like the Type R version.
Hmm.
Champ White is kind of the most like quintessential, whether it be the wing, the wheels, the tire package, the interior. It's like everything they did was like, I look at an FL5 Type R and I'm like, I really like that.
Yeah.
Non Type R, I really don't want one.
Yeah.
Right? Is that fair? Would you agree with
Oh
that?
yeah, for sure. I mean, like, and then the FK8
Same
kind of the
thing?
same thing. Yeah, like if I would compare the two,
Yeah.
kind of like, well, I kind of want to hear what your take would be comparing the two cars. Like, what's your take on FK8 versus FL5, Type R to Type R?
Okay. So my personal experience and looking when the FK8 first came out, I was like, no, no, no.
Okay.
Right? I don't like it. It's chunky, it's large, it's the haunches, the shaping. I thought like the headlights are kind of cool. I do like having a more like I can objectively appreciate having a wider, longer, heavier, bigger car. um, it's just a much smoother driving experience. The '90s and early 2000s, they were lightweight, and all the safety requirements now make cars have to have more weight and computers and stuff. But as far as just a regular person getting in and driving it, you have everything that you need. It feels planted. I could appreciate it, but looking at it, I was like, no, dude, it's not a good looking car. When the FK8 Type R came out, I was looking at it and I was like, all right, 20s? Mm, I do kind of like the interior, but I guess to make the long story short, it took a little bit of time and all of a sudden it started growing on me with the way people were modding them, right? You
Mm.
you go to an 18, an 18 or a 19 in a wheel that we all appreciate, like a TE or a ZE or a CE, and it's like, okay, right? You lower it. You got a couple people who started putting on lip kits. This is before like full aero, like Varys and stuff. And I started being like, okay, hold on, that's got a pretty solid look. And by the time more aero came out and people dialed in wheel fitment, I was like, okay, that actually has a pretty menacing appearance. They could be pretty solid looking, and then guys just out there just killing it on the track. And I was like, okay, I can appreciate the car. I didn't, and I loved how Honda put it at 34.9 so that it could be
It can move.
it could be attained, and they would move numbers. But then there's the whole controversy of how dealership markup made the FK8 go for. I mean, do any of you watching? Do you have one? Did you get it for anywhere near $35,000? Are you willing to share in the comments? Were you just like, I don't care, I want one? You paid 55, 45? Like, what did you guys pay, right? Are you willing to share, or anyone you know? So for you, for example, right? Would you have paid and would you have paid more than 35 if you were going to get one?
No, I don't think so. Like, I mean, maybe like I'd probably set 2 to 3K over, and like
Which
that's
is
it.
effectively like you're not going to get one in California, right?
Yeah,
Virtually
and that's what
virtually
I would, and
impossible.
I'd probably, and then so I'd probably just give up, kind of
Yeah,
searching, and
yeah.
it probably wouldn't really. I maybe wait till you get a used one, but like, yeah, for me, like the FK8, when I first saw it,
Yeah.
like first saw the Type R, I was like, I like it a lot,
Okay.
and then I started seeing that there was a lot of things that felt like false, like
Oh, you mean like the non-functional vents and stuff?
non-functional vents. I really didn't like the fact that it had 20s on it,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, just like it felt kind of like it's felt like it, when people put vents on a car when it doesn't don't go anywhere. Like it
Oh,
just felt very like we'll use the term kind of a little bit too ricer for me.
okay.
Okay, then the FL5 came out, and I was like, it's not like it doesn't have that pop. Okay, until then it grew on me,
When
and
you
I
saw a
started.
Type R, or in general, it was
Well,
growing on you in general.
the Type R was I I saw it at, I think the first time I saw one was just at at Tokyo Auto
The
Salon.
Tokyo Auto Salon, yeah.
And then I had a chance to actually, I saw a picture.
Yeah.
And I was like, it still doesn't really do anything for me. But when I saw it in person at TAS, and I saw that like the air ducts actually go to the brakes, and there's vents like right in the. I love how they do the little headlight, that little spot where you could visually see the flare on the front fender,
on the fender,
and then on the rear and stuff, and everything's like, oh well, it's very subtle.
Yeah.
But it's actually quite good looking.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now I really do like the car a lot. The fact they didn't really change the engine much at all, is totally cool.
Yeah, but the driving modes, that totally brought it out.
The displays.
Yeah, you guys will see it on the vlog. Ryan and I are toggling through it. It is super cool.
That dash.
It's pretty damn cool, man.
They got the shift lights. It literally looks like a 7 or a 12-inch Motec dash.
It does. So
it's the same clarity.
It has shift lights, so when you go into that mode, right, it will allow you to show red line. It goes right. It goes up by dot colors: green, yellow, red. I mean, we've been putting in everything from AIMs, race packs, AEMs, Motecs, and in all of the builds that we've been doing. And now you have an OEM car where you have your main cluster and the screen over here, tire pressure, boost, everything. And it's like, dude, this is very, very cool.
Yeah, like, I mean, if you were to, well, this would be kind of like probably back in the day, but you would have like your gauges on your dash.
Yep.
So you have all your gauges on the center screen.
Right over here to the right.
And then you have all your like race function stuff that you're looking at in your heads up, your digital display.
Right in front of you, yeah.
And yeah, it's as clear. Like the one thing, if you really get down to it, you look like a Motec dash versus like an AIM dash.
Okay.
The Motec dash is a lot more expensive.
Sure.
But the clarity is amazing.
It's amazing,
it's such a good screen.
And the Honda Civic Type R one
nailed it. They have like the same screen.
It's so good, dude. It's so good. So when you go into the different modes, which once again you guys will see on in the other vlog, you can see there's some subtle changes all the way to very big changes where it moves the more fundamental and vital things there right in front of you. And then you can switch what you want on the mid screen. And you can have it be all analog style sweeping needle gauges, or you could have it be the picture of your white, in this case the Champ White Type R, and it's just a really raced out feel, but classy, and the OEM driving options really provided an experience. You could audibly hear the exhaust note change when you went into the different modes. You could feel the dampening change. And both Ryan and I on those curves, because we were not in a place where the roads were really straight, were really kind of pushed in hard, hit VTEC, felt boost changes in a turn. And it was a really fun driving experience, albeit limited as it was getting dark and stuff. And then Ryan got super capped out by the officer. And so we were just sitting there like, slow, man. And then finally he turned off, and it was just a really cool experience to do that.
Mike actually got arrested. The Honda guys had to drive us home.
Man,
it was bad. No, I'm just
Why
kidding.
did I have to get arrested? It's because I'm.
Cause...
No, but you guys, all jokes aside, right? I know a bunch of you guys would probably have gotten one already by now, right? I mean, some of you might be saving, but for those of you that have them or have driven them, friends have them. John has one. Dustin has one. We know a few guys that have them, and they're everything from just cruising them to tracking them. What are your guys' thoughts on the FL5 versus the FK8? It seems like Honda really listened, so they got rid of the 20s. The venting's functional. They have the hood vent. They have the brake vents. Opened up the grill. As far as airflow is concerned, Champ White is just about as classic as you can get.
The interior's really nice. They kept the red theme.
Yep. And so they have it like the Type R is embossed on the instead of stitched in, it's embossed into the suede.
One thing that the Honda engineer really really liked, and because he talked about it a lot, is the fact that you don't see the wing.
Right.
The wing's there, and it's proper height and everything for the height of the car.
downforce. Yep.
But you don't see it out your rear view.
Which is, I mean, that's
something
cool
that's
thing.
really cool because like
it doesn't obstruct anything.
It really sucks having obstructions.
Yeah, man.
When you're trying to drive on the street.
Yeah.
Least,
So, the gloss black, the mirrors, the antenna,
Mm-hmm.
and the rear wing. Like on paper, if it was like, okay, I have a champ white car, but I'm gonna paint my mirrors and my wing foil gloss black, it almost would like be like, bro, why would you do that, right? But yet it
No,
totally
that
works.
works. Yeah.
Totally works on the CTR.
People do that stuff in carbon black, and
Yep,
then
yep.
that totally works.
It
And
looks
it's not
great.
carbon, but it still has the same effect with the breaking
Yeah.
up the I don't know the word, but
The
too much white.
the monotony, or like
Monotony
or
was the word I was
the
thinking.
monochromatic
Yeah,
theme.
sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, do you guys like those particular accents? Do you think it looks best in champ white versus any of the other options, right? For those of you that have one, what do you think they did right compared to the FK? What do you think Honda did that you think could be better on the next iteration in about 5 whatever years? We really want to know. But the other biggest hindrance, of course, is there was markups on the FK8. Honda tried to make it, they did make it 34.9, and then now this one's a little bit more plus markups.
Plus, probably crazier markups.
Crazier markups. So the question is, how many of you guys got one? If you did, how much was it? Are you willing to share? And for those of you that are thinking about getting one, is there a number for you that you're just like, I am willing to pay, up to this much? Where is the cap? Like, you want one, you love it, you've been in one, you watch the vlog of us driving it, whatever, right? And you're like, dude, I want one. But where do you draw the line with dealer markups or resale or blah blah blah, where you're just like, I want it but I refuse, or I can't pay 55 or something like that? So same, I asked you about the FK8. For you, same thing with the FL5. Where would you just be like, bro, I'm just not willing to pay this number? Where's your cap?
Probably 3,000 over.
Like,
I can't.
it's
like
your
a
something about your
percentage
mind.
thing,
It's
and
just like, I'm not down to pay this wild markup.
Yeah, like I've only bought one brand new car my entire life.
Fair enough.
It was a Fit.
Interestingly.
Fit Sport.
Yeah.
I just wanted a daily, and then
Yeah.
I just like bought that because it was, and I think I did not. I paid like zero over. Like they were going from above.
There was a markup back
There
then?
was a markup, but I didn't pay a markup.
Yeah. So you found a dealer that was willing to sell a sticker.
I don't think I would have paid a cent over markup, but it was a daily driver.
Yeah.
So I was like not willing to.
Sure.
But as far as like a performance car, something that's a little bit more sporty,
And relative to the market right now,
yeah,
two
maybe
or three.
two. Yeah, I think two.
Do any of you guys know a dealership in any state, right, that is or was selling them for sticker? The new FL5 Type R. Not a non-Type R, Type Rs. Anyone here, put it in the comments. Do you know anyone who got one for sticker or 2 or 3 over? Do you presently know any dealership that is willing to do that? Let us know, because I haven't done much research, but I don't know any in California.
Dude, I heard that that new Hummer Electric, it's $110,000, right?
Okay.
There was dealers selling those for $100,000 markup. So now it's $210,000. So like, if you compare it, it's actually quite reasonable. But yeah, dude, yeah, they were $100,000 markup for $110,000 car. That's crazy.
Why would anyone
But this is
do
like
that?
LA, right? But
Okay.
yeah, I know. Why would anybody do that? If you want,
I don't know, man. I mean, shout out to Ryan for bringing up a Hummer during a Civic Type R Car Talk episode.
Yeah, but I'm not making Hummer like look very good with that. Anyway, but yeah.
Okay, obviously the markups that dealerships are willing to do. I mean,
That's what I'm getting at.
yeah, it's
like crazy to think that.
So like the Porsche market is wild,
Oh yeah.
right? But like, okay, people who are looking for brand new Porsches, okay, I suppose I could imagine
but
markups.
like
a Hummer? So, like, I know there were a couple of people for the FK8, for example, that paid 50.
50
Okay, so that's
over.
50. No,
Or
not 50 over.
50,000.
50 to 55
They
was like
paid
kind of like a
50,
running normal.
and they wanted to sell them for
34.9.
34.9.
I believe so.
Okay, so like
But that was the
35,000.
FK8. Now FL5, like I said, how many of you guys have one? What did you pay? If you don't mind sharing, what is like? I don't even know. We're gonna look it up right now. What are FL5s going for right now? FL5 Honda Civic Type R for sale. 2023 Civic Type R used. It only has 344 miles. $65,000.
Wow. So somebody did a buy and flip, and they're hoping that
Apparently.
they make a couple bucks.
Okay, what about
Maybe,
these are all
or
SIs.
that's just a dealer that
These
has.
are all SIs. Okay, Civic Type R. Let's get Civic. Wow, I can't even find that many Type Rs for sale. Those are all SIs. Let's see. What do you like? 60, 65 for one that has. Well, they have it labeled as used. It's not even labeled
Yeah, I know.
new.
That's crazy. So if a dealer had one with 0 miles sitting on a lot, it would have to go for more than that.
Okay, so this is a 2020. That's a FK8. 43,000 with 20,000 miles on it.
Wow.
What? Okay, so 2020 okay, FK8 56,000. So I can't even find FL5s for sale. They're all gone. Granted this is a quick search, but they're all FK8s coming up. Even though I literally said FL5 and I put the year, but the couple that are there are used 63. Would any of you or did any of you pay 60 or more for your FL5?
When we were talking about a SEMA Garage, there wasn't their dealership selling them for over 60.
Yeah. I was just seeing if the guys, especially that are out of California.
Yeah,
if you're out of the New Yorks and the Californias and those edge states, right, in Midwest, I would like to believe that you're gonna be able to get a better deal. I think same thing. The markups in like California and like Florida, they're all through the roof.
FL5's built in Japan, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Dur was saying that when he was in Yokohama, because that's where the big port is.
Okay.
He said that he like saw all the cars in the lot, and there was just like all these champ white FL5s, and they were just getting ready to get on a boat and
just ship
come
on
over here
to the United States of America. Well, dude, once again, guys, please take the time, go to my personal YouTube channel, check out the SEMA Garage session we did, Ryan and I, with the Civic Type R, the driving modes. If you haven't been in the cockpit of one, a lot of the, a lot of other guys have made content with them, so maybe you've already kind of experienced it in that capacity. But, this is a far more calm and like pedestrian manner. The way you're going to probably drive it 92% of the time. So check it out. What do you think about the cars? What are you willing to pay for it? And stay tuned with us as we continue to work with companies like SEMA, go back to the SEMA Garage with other cars, and just continue to play a role to educate you guys and to be able to contribute to the continued growth and the thriving of our industry scene and culture. So thank you guys for being here. Comment your thoughts on this episode as well as the episode of Ryan and I at the SEMA Garage with the FL5 Civic Type R, and we appreciate you, and we'll see you on the next one.